Okay, so I'm here at Delga. My relationship with Delga goes all the way back to 35 plus years. So when I did Lyrical Maniac, this is where I came to pick up my covers. Not this particular location, but the company. The location was somewhere else. I believe it was in Crayford at the time. But you know, the history with myself and Delga has carried on throughout my career. A lot of record covers that I've done through agents and brokers and stuff, that's all been done through Delga. So, you know, a lot of the covers that you see, blade covers and stuff like that, any of the CD manufacturing business stuff that we were doing, any litho print that was going on, that was all done by them, digipack, so on and so forth, was all done by them. So, yeah, follow me. We're going to go and talk to certain people in here. I'm somewhere where I was pretty much 35, 40 years ago when I was manufacturing my records in the early days. It's not the same building, but it's the same company. And I'm here talking to somebody about the history and about the things that they've done for the industry, for the music industry, and just basically finding out more things about the company, the evolution of it, so on and so forth. So I'm going to go straight into it with my guest. Do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, my name is Conetta and I'm the Managing Director of Delga Press.
When did you take over with the company? Because I remember the Edwards being in charge.
So Delga Press, as you know, has been around for about 65 years, you know, and it was very much involved in the music and entertainment industry all the way through the vinyl, the transition to cassette, into CD, DVD, back into to vinyl again, and it's maintained a place within that, all well diminished now in recent times, but 65 years is a long time to be involved in one particular industry. Me, myself, 10 years. 10 years and been involved in this business now. So joined it at the point where there was still an awful lot of CD and DVD, and that's obviously diminished with downloads and your Netflix and Spotify's and the likes along the way.
If we go back to the early days, do you have any idea why they started the company?
No, I think that obviously, you know, age I am, you know, you came into this, we've got, as you've seen in reception, there's imagery of lots of vinyl records that have been around for going back 40, 50 years, and you can it's a focal point when people come in here and they look at that poster that's up on the wall, and they're choosing which vinyls that they bought, you know, back in the 70s, back in the 80s, whenever it was, you know. So the business Delga Press was very much a niche market for that environment. So if you've been involved in the print industry, as I have for 40 odd years, if you're not involved in that media environment, you don't really know of Delga Press, or you didn't. There's a difference now, and I'm sure we'll talk about that as we go on through the interview.
Yeah, obviously, like I said, I've been here, and I knew the company from very early on, and well, not very early on because it was before I was born, I guess, right? But why didn't they call it Edwards Press?
Do you know what? There is a story behind that, and I don't actually know the full story, but Delga is a split between one of the Edwards' wives and daughters, they're Gary or whatever it was. There's a name. You're right. It was the Edwards family that set up this business many years ago, and through 2 or 3 generations thereafter was maintained it.
You were talking about the reception area with all the covers and everything. How does it make you feel knowing the amount of work that you guys have done?
It's quite nostalgic when you look. Certainly, people of an age that come here and see some of those record sleeves that are on display in reception there. To think of some of those bands and artists that in some instances now have been revitalised in recent years, haven't they? You know, and they're still out and out in the industry again now. You know, still making records or still having fun. Certainly, you know. So it's a real focal point. Certainly for customers that come here that don't actually buy media work, that come here for commercial cartons or packaging or labels that we manufacture on site, you know, to see that is a real conversation starter. It's a real icebreaker, you know, and it gives a little bit of personality to the building.
Let me take you to the point when I walked in the first time to one of your warehouses.
Yep.
And I didn't know what to expect, because my idea of a printing firm was a corner shop.
Yep.
And all that kind of stuff. So I was expecting just something along those lines.
Yep.
Right? And then I came in to pick the vinyl, the covers up.
Yep.
And the labels, and I was blown away.
You say this industry, you know, I'd have been around the same sort of time that I joined this industry myself as an apprentice, and I was a machine minder. And this industry at that time was in its prime. You know, there were newspapers, there was the media stuff, there were books, everything, and there was this. There was almost this impression that if you joined the print industry at that point, you were made for life. You were gonna be all right, you know. And the industry has gone through some some difficult times. You know, it's reinventing itself a little bit at this moment in time. They told us vinyl was dead. You know, we're selling more vinyl sleeves now than, you know, for years. They told you books were dead. You know, 5 or 6 years ago, the Kindle was there. You know, books have revitalised. You know, we're doing an awful lot of book jackets within this business. You know, so there is a place. There is a need for that tactile presence and to feel something. You know, everyone can see something instantly these days. You know, but there is a resurgence of that need for something tactile, something you can feel, something you can smell,
Yep.
and actually see presence to. So it's great.
You said they told you. Who's they?
The world tells you.
Why do you think they do that?
Because everything's instant now. You know, you go back to the days when you came along here, you didn't know this place. You couldn't go on the internet and find it. You had to do your own research yourself and find these people, Yellow Pages, whatever you've done to look for a printed company. Now you can, everything's instant, isn't it? You get your information off the web. You've got social media. You've got people, you know, making recommendations all the way, and everything's just instant. You want to read a book, you can go and download that book in 2 minutes. Yeah, if that was what you wanted to do, and we were being pushed, you know, as a person in the world, you know, and I just think that there's been a realization, you know, almost that something tactile, something that has a physical presence, something that's got a shelf life, something that you can look at, pick up at any given time, and actually memorize or get some kind of memory from is a lot more important as we progress.
Do you remember the time when we were being told that vinyl is dead, and then they obviously brought CDs into the marketplace?
So what we've done at that point now, as Delga Press, where Delga Press differentiated itself a little bit from other people, other manufacturers at that time, is that we kept those vinyl album sleeve machinery, you know, and some of that machinery downstairs that still manufactures those vinyl sleeves is 30, 40 years old, but we kept it, we looked after it, we maintained it, and whether that was luck or whether that was a belief by the ownership at that time that was going to happen, it's really served us well in recent times with the ability to react and respond to that resurgence in vinyl that came around, must be 8, 9 years ago now, you know. But you know, the machinery that we've got that manufactures those vinyl sleeves now is the same machinery that we had when we were manufacturing those vinyl sleeves 25 years ago. They were very well built, they were very well maintained, and they still do a tremendous job for us.
So whoever was in control at the time, it was almost like they had hindsight before hindsight.
Maybe, whatever it was, however they done it, you know, other competitors to us at that time sold that equipment off, got rid of it, didn't feel there was any need for it anymore. So when that came back to life again, yeah, Delga was the prime place to go.
Yeah, but let's be real. I mean, you've got the space to keep it all, haven't you? So
maybe, but we do an awful lot of different stuff on top of that now as well, and that's the key to that progress.
Do you remember in the 90s when the CDs started coming in and they were telling us like vinyl is dead and so on?
Absolutely.
And then there was all this stuff about Oasis basically sticking up for vinyl. Do you remember that?
No, I don't physically. I don't remember that. No.
Yeah, Oasis was like, no, we're making vinyl,
Yeah.
and the industry's telling us to do CDs, but we're making vinyl, and that gave a lot of us hope because we weren't into CDs.
Yeah.
We were into vinyl. Getting the piece of vinyl. I still remember the day.
My
when
Oasis album was a cassette in my car. You know, that's what I remember. You know.
Okay, so you had a cassette, and Delga used to do a lot of manufacturing for cassettes in the early days. That's how. Is that where they began?
I think it was vinyl before cassette, and then cassette came along, and then the CD, DVD. You'll be surprised. Last year, and the year before, we have actually produced some cassette sleeves. There are some renowned artists in this industry at this moment in time that have actually, and for what reason, Blade, I couldn't tell you, have actually produced albums on cassette within the last 2 years. Big artists. I mean, who's playing these cassettes, where they're playing them, and what they're for, you tell me. But they're doing them.
Obviously, you had the transition where you had your vinyl, you had your cassettes. What next?
So then went obviously to CD and DVD came in and was a greater part of our business. We were doing a tremendous amount of CD and DVD inlays and the little CD booklets and the likes. And then most of that was shipped down into Sony DADC down in Southwater, down at Gatwick Airport, which were the largest CD duplication site, DVD duplication site left in the UK at the time. And about what must be 6 or 7 years ago now, they closed that facility, moved out to Pilsen in the Czech Republic, and at that time it was you know the the presence of Delga Press was put under bigger pressure than it's ever been put under before, because such a huge chunk of our work was leaving the country, and we couldn't manufacture it and send it to the Czech Republic for the same price that we were manufacturing it and sending it to Gatwick. So not only were we delivering directly for Sony, we were dealing with brokers work as well, third party work that was going there for the duplication to be done. So at that time, it was a very difficult period for Delga Press. We needed to reinvent ourselves. We had significant equipment here which served well within the packaging environment, but our name was ensconced within the media. We were a go-to facility for CD, DVD, and vinyl sleeves. In the world of packaging in nutraceutical and packaging in pharmaceutical, cosmetics, beauty, there was no name, there was no brand of Delga Press, and so we needed to reinvent ourselves very quickly into other areas where our machines were compatible with, to give us a presence. And at that time, there was a few months, a good year or two where it was really difficult for us, because we had no USP. We had nothing here that differentiated ourselves in a packaging environment. We had substantial equipment which differentiated ourselves in a media environment, media packaging, but we were trying to sell a business to commercial packaging, and no one knew who we were. So there were some business decisions that were made at that time to invest, speculate to accumulate, if you like, to put ourselves in a stronger position to keep the business afloat. Yeah. It was difficult times.
I knew people in the know, people that were working for you, people that were working with you, and I was hearing about the rocky times, and so how did you survive that? I mean, what changed things to make you kind of elevate and evolve into the new direction that you went into?
We had to grow a pair, first and foremost, right? We had to be brave. That's simple as that, because if we'd have felt sorry for ourselves in that period, there wouldn't have been a Delga Press sitting here now, and we wouldn't still be doing and servicing some of the clients that we've been servicing, as you mentioned, for 40, 50 years, right? So, but we couldn't rely on them either, because they had a business model. Their business model found that it was cheaper for them to get their CD, DVD, or their vinyl produced in mainland Europe, and we had to live with that. We had to go and find a customer that wanted to trade with us in this environment that we're in now, right? So there were some business decisions that we made to invest in certain equipment, which gave us a differentiator, which gave us the ability to sell something that other people didn't have. We focus heavily on quality, short run, multi-SKU, carton work, which we went and we digitised ourselves. I'm talking to you about this so-called digitisation of the world. The industry here digitised itself. So my intro into this industry was very much within the litho, machine print, conventional print environment. We still have litho, still invested heavily in litho, but we've also got digital printing presses now, which give us that ability to be really, really flexible, really, really spontaneous, and our quality, has gone up a notch. But those things cost money, and we had to make those investments to enable us to have something to sell, a service offering, a value proposition that someone wanted, because our customers, which we'd relied on for 40 years, weren't there for us anymore. Their work was going into mainland Europe, and we needed to adjust to make sure we stayed put.
And obviously that then takes me on to something that personally bothers me a lot, is loyalty. Like, people are quick to forget their loyalty.
Yeah, it's difficult, right? Because at the end of the day, you've got a business to run, okay? And you've got people to pay, and people rely on us, our staff rely on us to be paid on the last Friday of every month, and we give a commitment to them that we're not going to default that. We never have, even in our darkest times, we never defaulted on that. But there's a lot of work that didn't stay in the UK, that's disappointing, that didn't stay in the UK. And I can understand people's business models, but you know what? Dark times bring out brave people, and we were brave, and that's the reason that we sit here today. You talk about media. Media was in excess of 90% of the turnover of Delga Press, currently sits at probably around 15 to 20%. We've completely diversified our business model, which has allowed us, or afforded us, the opportunity to be very flexible in the way that we approach the business world.
And just to put into perspective, I mean, you mentioned you were working with Sony DADC. Do you want to tell us what kind of percentage of business you lost just like that?
So it wasn't directly Sony work, but obviously we had broker work that was going into Sony for their CDs and DVDs to be duplicated at that time. That work, that work that was going into DADC was circa 40% of the turnover of Delga Press at that time.
How
Now,
you
fortunately,
survived.
well, you know, see, had Delga Press been a solely individual trading company, it wouldn't have done. Delga Press sits part of what was the Delga Group. It's now called the Meliora Group. When we bought this business a few years ago, we changed the name to the Meliora Group, and we have another factory over in Maidstone that manufactures print, but within different sectors. Yeah, so we do a lot of public sector work, do a lot of commercial print. We've also now started up our own label business here as well. So the group has evolved, and the success of those other businesses enabled the cash to be injected into Delga Press to help it transition through that period. Right? Had Delga Press been just Delga Press, 40% is a lot of money to walk out the door and not have time to you know, we had 3 months notice, I think, that they were closing the ADC. That really hurt. That really hurt the business at that time. But you know what? We grew a pair. We stuck our chin out. We went back out, you know, and looked people square in the eye, and we still sit here today, 6 months later, thinking, well, we've got a stronger business now. Stronger business now on the back of it.
What do you think made the difference to make that happen?
Courage, guts, the desire to not fail, pride, all those adjectives. You know, we're very proud of what we've got here. You know, there are people in this factory. We've talked about this business being around for 60, 65 years. 2 years ago, a guy retired from our business. 50 years he'd worked for Delga. 50 years, right? Joined the business at 17, and he came to me. At that time, retirement age was 65, and he said, I want to stay till 67. He said, because I want to do 50 years. And we had a week of celebrating. Every day we had a particular activity that was going on where there was involvement in the staff. But there are, in this business, you could walk around this factory now and I could introduce you to certainly 2 individuals that have been here over 40 years. Over 40 years, still with this company that as you say, you walked into in Crayford and different areas in northwest Kent, southeast London when Delga Press was spread around. Before it came here in 2003 into this facility here. But people have moved to different sites along the way. They're very proud to have worked for the business that long. We're very proud that we've got a business that has given someone enough of a challenge mentally, physically, financially, emotionally to still come back here every day. And you know what? Those 2 people that I mentioned, I guarantee you now, if you put a camera in front of them, they'd have a smile on their face. Guarantee you. Yeah, they're not people. They're not people that are walking around, right, thinking that the world owes them a living. They're people that are proud of the fact that they're involved in this business, and they're proud of the fact that they've been involved for that long.
Do you think that maybe the age thing has got something to do with that? Like the youngers don't value things the same way the olders do?
I come back to what I said a little while ago. I think that the industry has lost its appeal. I talk about the print industry, not the music industry. The print industry has lost its appeal a little bit. I think younger generations now want everything quick, instant, right? There's a significant factory downstairs that you've seen, that you'll show some footage of, that's got some significant equipment in there. But those things are learned over time. Yeah, that's still an apprenticeship. That's still a 2-3 year apprenticeship. And okay, once you've done your time, I've done my time. I served my apprenticeships running some of those presses that are downstairs there today. Yeah, and I've evolved in my own career that's gone through that. And we do have apprentices in this building. And we have one that's going to be concluding his apprenticeship very soon. And we're proud of that. But alongside that, we've also had 1 or 2 that 6-7 months down the line have given it up, gone to be a roofer at their father-in-law's or their mum's boyfriend's, whatever company, right? Because they want instant money. You know, whereas what we offer here is a career, and it is a career. It's proved to be a career for said guys that have been around 40 odd years. It's proved for them, Reed, many others that have had 20 years, 25 years, 15 years. We don't have a big turnover of staff. The culture's right here. The staff there's some real knowledgeable people in this industry. We're proud of that. We're really proud of that.
And obviously, don't forget the number of people that you've serviced that have had long careers as well.
Yeah.
Like, you know, my music career was pretty long, 2.5 decades. Yeah. And then I retired, and then I started using your service for my CD manufacturing business. So I've been using your services for nearly 40 years. You know?
It's a go-to business in that sector, isn't it? And it still is that, Blade. I don't want this message to be distorted, because it still is a go-to place. Unfortunately, we can't, as a business, just rely on that work, because there isn't enough of it, because it's going into mainland Europe, which is a problem to us. So we've had to reinvent ourselves so that the business is able to be flexible and agile and approach other sectors, as I said, nutraceutical, pharmaceutical, beauty, cosmetics, pet food, lots of areas where we are servicing other sectors now as well. But our heritage and our legacy remains within the music and entertainment industry.
And just to clarify, you've always dealt with the packaging side of things, not the vinyl manufacturing.
Yeah, we don't press vinyl. We don't press vinyl. That said, we will. There are different ways that work comes into our business. Some artists or labels will go direct to the vinyl presser, and the vinyl presser will place the print on their behalf. Others will come through the print, and the vinyl gets placed with the vinyl presser the other way around. But yeah, we don't press vinyl, but we just do the packaging that accompanies that.
Okay, and but
that's what you're looking at, right? When you buy vinyl, you're buying vinyl to play the vinyl and listen to the vinyl. But the first thing you see is the packaging. Yeah. And if that packaging's on point, and it's in a record shop, someone's going to pick that.
Yeah, and you know what? I have to say thank you, because like you've printed stuff for me that basically has been acknowledged worldwide. Yeah. For anybody who's a fan of my work, we're independent artists, but just knowing that we got that piece of vinyl that people value, and it's the covers that make the value.
Absolutely. And long may that continue as well.
Yeah, exactly. What's the direction now? So say everything kind of changes again. Mm-hmm. How are you going to keep up? I mean, because you've got the digital world that's basically eliminating the printing world a little bit.
Do you know what? Eliminating is a harsh word to use.
Well, a lot of companies have gone bust because of it.
Absolutely they have, and a lot of print companies continue to go bust. If you looked at the amount of print companies that were still trading now against where we were 10, 15 years ago, you'd be absolutely right in that statement. I still believe that there's a place for print. You have to be environmentally friendly, right? Because the first thing as well is that because it's a part of our world, there's still a perception that print's bad in certain areas, right? Certain uneducated areas will tell you print's bad because it's paper. There's deforestation going on to enable ink to go onto paper. It's not true. The amount of trees that are replanted. There is an FSC accreditation, which means that you are buying material from a reliable source. Which means that we are actually very good for the environment. The whole Blue Planet episode with Mr. Attenborough, which is sort of moving away from single-use plastic, coming into a more sustainable environment, which is paper and pulp, which is recyclable. So there is an awareness that's going on that actually the media will tell you print was bad, and the world would tell you print was bad. We've got to come away. Let's digitise everything, so we don't need to have bits of paper lying around. It's not true. It's not true, and we're seeing this come out the other side of that now. With more and more people knowing that the print is environmentally friendly, it's responsible in the way that the material is sourced, and it's sustainable. And actually having something tactile and memorable when you walk into a record shop, what are you going to do? Look at a list of downloads. I mean, come on. I'll just choose that one, click on my phone. Really? You want to walk in there, you want to see those album sleeves, you want to see the packaging, you want to see, smell, feel, and actually get involved in a conversation that surrounds it. It's no different to when you walk into a store. The first thing you see, this product, this cream, this face cream, whatever it is, it might be £5, it might be £30. The first thing you see is the packaging. The first thing you are enticed by is the packaging.
Yeah, that's what sells it.
And so where we've gone, on the journey we've gone on, is just to up our game with that product, with our flexibility and our ability to generate first-class packaging, dependent upon what sector it's in.
I mean, that's so interesting because you're talking about when you go into a record shop, for example. If we talk about when we're going to a record shop, you've got all this physical product, and there's a certain joy about flicking through everything and finding the covers that catch your. But you don't get that on a digital download. Of
course you don't.
And you've got everything in your life on a computer somewhere in a file, and it's impossible to find what you're looking for. And you forget what you're looking for. Where's on a shelf?
Is it not the same with Waterstones and the book thing? The Waterstones were supposed to be dead. You still walk in Waterstones now. You still sit there. You're looking at physical books. It's fabulous.
But it's also easier to find stuff.
people like me that have been in this industry for a while will walk into Waterstone, so they'll walk into a vinyl, an album, a record shop, or they'll walk into a supermarket where all the magazines are. You know, the first thing someone like me does is pick it and smells it. Yeah, because you're smelling it. You can feel it. You can see the embellishments that we're able to deliver here onto, you know, whether it's foiling, whether it's spot UV, whether it's lamination, all of those embellishments that we can add value to a product. You smell it. You smell it. It's just a natural reaction to do, and you don't get that through clicking on a download, do you?
Yeah, exactly.
Cold.
I mean, I remember very, very cold. I remember the first time I went to get my vinyl manufactured independently, and I went to a plant in Acton that just did the vinyl. They didn't put the label on it. They didn't do anything. And I didn't know how the process was, but I got the vinyl, and it was on a white label. And they got this piece of plastic, whatever it was, vinyl, molded, chucked it on the thing, and they were going, you got to get the right amount, otherwise the vinyl will be too thick or too thin. So they just chucked the thing, and I watched it get made in front of me. Yeah. And the smell and everything, it's beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that physical, as I said, come back to it. Physical, tactile product. Feel it, smell it, touch it, you know, sense it. So it just enhances your senses, doesn't it?
So you've been in this field for so many years.
40 years.
40 years, for so many years. But it sounds to me like you wake up every morning with the same excitement.
I love it. I love it. I like the industry has been good to me personally. I'm in a great place now, you know, in the with three guys who co-own this business, that we bought it 2.5, 3 years ago now. And so we're in control of our own destiny in that respect. You know, we employ 120 people. There's a big responsibility to us to make sure that these people have a place of work that they can go to. We talked about already, by being challenged, you know, physically, emotionally, culturally, whatever. And giving them the opportunity to develop that we've had as an opportunity to develop. And it's fun, and we have fun, you know, and the business is full of good people that hopefully enjoy as much as we enjoy it.
Let me compare this to walking into a shop in Maidstone, right? And I look around and I see staff that just look like they don't want to be there. Yeah. Now, I just stood on top of your balcony here, and I'm looking down at everybody, and everybody looks enthusiastic in what they're doing. Yeah. So, you know,
that's good to know.
Whoa, that's what I spotted.
Yeah, no, and that's great to know, because it's important to us. You know, we are a board of directors or a team of co-owners that are heavily involved day to day, not just sitting watching the world go by and, you know, and looking at numbers on a spreadsheet. We are heavily involved, actively involved on a day-to-day basis, and there's a real relationship with all of our staff, you know, and it's intentional that way, because we're all personable people, yeah, and you want to know people, and you want your staff to. I live locally, and nothing would hurt me more than bumping into a member of my staff with his wife or her husband or whatever, or their kids, and them actually have never met the partner before, them looking at their partner who works here, thinking, is that the bloke you come home moaning about all the time? That would be tragic for me, right? And I certainly don't, you know, aspire to be that person. So we try to give a place that people enjoy coming to work, and our work is varied. You know, we're still going from you know, we've done some significant titles in recent years in album sleeves, and it's been some real challenging ones that we've done, you know, that were under strict NDA, that there's some information there where, you know, well, people are living in the world of mobile phones, and we've had to restrict the use of people bringing their mobile phones into the workplace, because there were poster booklets that were associated with a vinyl sleeve that we'd done, that the artist was adamant couldn't be released. You know, one person taking one picture, uploading it onto Facebook, sending it to their kids would have crippled us with the fines that were associated with an NDA. But you know what? We're still that business that can be trusted to do those kind of things in a media environment, as much as the small labels to the big artists.
Have you ever been in that situation where it's been out of your control? Someone else has gone and exposed something?
I've heard of it. Fortunately, it was never done by us. Blade, I'll take you back to when I first joined this business. We used to, through a broker, manufacture the CDs for the X Factor final. You're right. So if you remember the days of the X Factor, and it will get down to the last 3 or 4 that were on the final, we would manufacture the album or the single for all artists, right? And we would send 25, 30 copies to the show, to the final, through the broker. Said person would win. We would then manufacture all of the album for the winner and throw away, or recycle all of the other ones, because it was it had to be instant. It had to be instant at that point there, So, had we not been trustworthy at that time, there could have been CD sleeves or CD booklets for a losing finalist in the X Factor circulating around, But Delga not only had a name of quality in this industry, it had a name of being trustworthy, and remains trustworthy and reliable in its security of that kind of product.
I mean, imagine if it had been leaked. What would that done to your reputation?
The reputation would have been ruined, wouldn't it?
Company
Absolutely
dead?
ruined. At that point, no one's going to go to someone they can't trust, do they? So no, we've never had a breach, because we've got the processes and policies in place, but B, we've also got trustworthy staff, and we talk to people. You explain the situation. You know what it's like. Everyone lives with their mobile phone in their pocket, right? So tell these guys they've got to come to work in the morning, put their mobile phone in a locker that was secured away at the front of the building, and then they could only go and get it at the end of the day after they'd done 8 hours, 9 hours, 10-hour shift, whatever they were doing. It was hard for them.
Yeah.
Right? It's hard for you someone says to you, you can't have your mobile phone 10 hours a day. Someone's going to ring. There's always a reason why you need it, right? There's whether it's a family member, a friend, or a business deal, whatever it is, something personal going on. Everyone needs it, but you can't have it. You cannot have it for that period of time, right? If we'd have just gone to them and said, no phones, I'd have had a bit of a rebellion on my hands, I think, yeah? The fact that we went to these people and we explained the importance of it, we explained the importance of what it meant to the business, the longevity, the reputation, their jobs, the security, all of those things, and we were honest, transparent, and we talked it through, meant that those guys worked here for that probably 2-month, 3-month period that we were manufacturing said title without their mobile phones and without a grumble at all. It's the way you talk to people, the way you respect people and give them return.
For someone doing what I'm doing, we would assume that it would be really difficult to talk to the main guy that runs the company, owns the company. But I'm here, and he's talking so openly. It's just unreal, the information that I'm getting and everything. So everything you just said there just makes a lot of sense, So
Yeah,
first of all, thanks for doing that.
Thank you.
It's really good. But you know what? I would like for you to look at your camera, and you see what you were saying about the paper, the printing, and the effects, and what the world is trying to convince the world is bad and wrong and whatever.
It's really simple. Print is good. Print is good. You go to a sustainable and reliable company that treats and deals with FSC materials and understands sustainability and reliability. Print is good. Print is good. Print is not dead. And there is a life for tactile product that you can smell, feel, and really engage with.
Imagine if everything is on your phone and you lose that phone.
Yeah.
Someone pickpockets you, robs you, whatever,
Yeah.
and your phone's gone. That's your life gone.
Exactly that. You can pick a book up, you can pick an album up, and you can. There's a memory that's associated to it. There's something that's associated to it, and it's there. It's visible. It's visible, and print is not dead. Not a chance in hell is print dead.
If we're promoting something via the interview for people to kind of see and go, okay, this is the company I want to go to, what would you say?
Yeah, I would say to you that, this interview started through your knowledge of Delga Press through the years as being that go-to provider for packaging, printed packaging in a media environment, be it CD, DVD, cassette, vinyl. But we've grown and we've become more agile and flexible, and we've had to diversify as that sector has diminished, as we said. So now the business is very much a provider of printed packaging to many sectors, be it nutraceutical, be it pharmaceutical, be it cosmetic, beauty, pet, drinks. There's a multitude of sectors that we provide printed packaging to. What you get with Delga Press is a significant agility and versatility because of the service offering that we have through very high quality digital presses, through very high quality litho print presses, through intricate laser cutting facility that we have downstairs, through embellishments that can be added to the product to give it more tactile and more luxurious feel. Everything is done under one roof. Many packaging companies will tell you that they can do this. This is under one roof. This is under one roof, and it's a very, very, very proactive, progressive company.
But does that happen where people are kind of selling themselves off as a company, but then you find out that it's just a guy sitting at home with a phone, but they're putting all the work to you?
Absolutely.
All the time.
Absolutely. There are many people that have been successful. I can't knock them. You know, they've got a very successful business that are selling a phenomenal packaging business, but they are a broker. Yeah, and that's what happens. It's happened in the media industry as well, hasn't it? You know, and so it happens also, you know, within the packaging industry.
How would people be able to get in touch with you if they're serious and they've got orders that they want to place with you and they're not wasting your time?
I mean, the easiest route to us is through our website, which is www.delga.co.uk. It's delga.co.uk. There's an info page there. My name's Ian Conetta. Surely, if anyone wants to find me and come through the website that way, Stuart McClellan, who's our sales director here, would be happy to help anybody that wants to go down that route. There's one thing I do want to add on that, which is an easier route than for some people, because you talked about depending on what size they are. We also do have, and we haven't spoke about in this interview, an e-commerce site. So we've actually launched an e-commerce site for, you know, artisan start-up businesses that perhaps are too small at this moment in time to go looking for a Delga Press to do their manufacturing for them, and they want to create their own. So you can actually go to a website called www.boxable.co.uk, and Boxable is a business whereby you can upload your own artwork, you can do your own design, you can create your own artwork all on the screen, create your own PDF from that, and send an order in through an e-commerce site. So it's a cheaper option for smaller startups because you're actually doing your own creative element at the side of that. So, you know, there is depending on what size you are as a business, there is a facility here that can manage that for you. And if you know you only want 100 or something, perhaps it's better to go through Boxable. You know, create your own design. We have a service on there where you can actually do one and it's free. So your prototype design for that is free. You know, you come back in and you order your product there afterwards when you're happy with what you got in front of you. But the e-commerce side of that, the Boxable side of that, is very good for certain areas.
All right, so I'm guessing it's like really simple to navigate.
Absolutely, it is.
Okay.
It's a great design, great website, and it's a very simplistic approach for individuals to create their own packaging.
Say if I've got a record cover, and I've got 100 records, yeah, but I want each one to be slightly different.
Yeah. So again, that brings you into the world of digital print. The difference between litho print, without boring you, and digital print. Litho print is a set of plates, conventionally printed, ink and water, and what you get on that set of plates from your design is on every single sheet. Yeah. Digital print means that you've got the ability to be variable, and so you can do one. You can create a PDF that's got 100 different images on it. We done a job for a band through a broker, a band called Hot Chip, probably going back about 6 or 7 years ago now. And what they wanted from this as a USP is they didn't want anyone to buy that album where it was the same. Every single album sleeve or CD was different. Okay, and it was very simple. It was a very simple coloured background with a small image on the front. And through our technology, we were able to generate multiple PDFs within this file that had a completely different background colour and a slight alteration of the image. So that I think they made it, excuse me, off the top of my head, let's say it was 20,000 album sleeves and 20,000 CD covers, right? Not one of them anywhere would be the same. Not one of them. It was all the benefit of digital printing, which gives you that ability. The bands came and watched it on machine. Yeah, and standing there watching every single sheet come out of the press completely different. We even randomised it to the point also because we were conscious that because there's such subtle differences in the blues and the greens and the yellows and the oranges in the way that the colour is brought together. Because it was so subtle, if you'd have just done them small changes one after the other, as you batch cut them, you could have ended up with all of the oranges or all of the reds going to the same shop, right? So we randomised it completely. So it was a yellow one, a green one, a blue one, a red one, an orange one. Every single sheet come out different. Yeah, and so that album is quite unique out there. That you could not buy that album and anywhere and have the same
cover.
Same cover.
Yeah. So the position of the image would change.
The position of the image was in the centre of the sheet,
Okay.
but it was just like this. It's called a vectored image, and it just slightly changed its orientation, throughout the centre of it, but just enough to be a difference. And then obviously with the background colour changing at the same time, you will not buy that album anywhere with the same cover.
So say someone wants to do a 300 run. How would that affect the price to have a normal cover done?
A 300 cover anyway would go through our digital press, whether it was every one the same or every one of them different. There's just a little bit of setup time that is a differentiator there. I would challenge that question the other way around and say, if someone just had a 300 run, what value to them would that product be if every single one of them was different to every one of them being the same? And I think I would throw that back the other way and say, if you've got 300 standard album sleeves and you want to charge a tenner a time for them, and they're all standard, but if you had 300 that were completely different, what could you charge for them?
Well, everyone would feel special having that, wouldn't they?
Exactly that. So I'd float that back the other way. What's it worth to you as a business if you're looking for randomisation? Because we can do that.
That's
and
a great
it's a service that we have under the roof, and we're happy to support and help people along the way with it. Help them educate them.
That's a great point. When you were talking about the variable artwork and everything, I remember many years ago I got some black sleeves. Actually, it was from you, just plain black sleeves. And I think altogether we done about 100. That's all. We wanted to keep it limited. And I got a stencil made with cardboard. I cut them out myself and I put my
You randomise them yourself?
Every one of them.
Yeah.
I made sure there was a slight difference, slightly at an angle, slightly this way.
This is exactly what we can do with the artwork through the digital process.
Right. So basically, that manual labour killed me.
We probably didn't have this equipment at that time, though, Blake. Right? So this is only in the last sort of 6-7 years.
So if I'd put
you're ahead of your time.
Yeah,
you were ahead of your time.
I was. But anyway, is there any final words?
As much as you've liked listening to our journey, I've liked listening to your journey today, and I'm pleased you're doing what you're doing, and good luck with everything you're doing in the future.
Thanks. I appreciate it. But
No
look, just thank you very much for doing the stuff that you're doing here, because like a lot of the artists don't realize where their work came from. And this is the place the work came from.
Yeah.
Guys, we're in the warehouse that provided a future for people like me and people like you if you're an artist. Seriously, really appreciate it.
Appreciate it.
And the evolution, brilliant, amazing.
Perfect. Thank you
very much. Thank you.
Thank you.